Who is one of the most powerful leaders in European history? A few names come to mind without hesitation, and one of them is Napoleon Bonaparte. But defining him solely through battles, maps, and empires is to see only the tip of the iceberg. There was another world in Napoleon's life, one that history books rarely mention: the deep loneliness of his childhood, the hidden anger he carried toward his family, the years of poverty he endured in Paris, the loves he lost, the dark ambitions that drove him, and the unknown details that reveal how he made the decisions that reshaped Europe. In this video, we will examine Napoleon not as a commander or an emperor, but as a human being, someone who became a legend almost against his own will. Napoleon was born in Corsica in 1769. That same year, the island had fallen into French hands, so Napoleon, from the very day he was born, faced an identity conflict. His family was noble, but not wealthy. As a child, Napoleon was introverted, quiet, and often lost in thought. His friends used to call him the little foreigner. When he was sent to France at the age of 9, he didn't know the language. He was completely an outsider in class, so he poured his pain into studying. That ambition was the seed of the future emperor. During his childhood, Napoleon only had a single pair of shoes, and it is said he walked until his feet nearly froze in winter. His relationship with his brother Lucien was almost never good since childhood. This conflict continued even during his imperial years. Historians tell of Napoleon's rapid rise, but very few speak of his years of hunger in Paris. His officer's salary was so low that, on most days, he survived on nothing but dry bread. He lived in a single-room attic in the back streets of Paris. He wrote in his diary, "I think of the days when I will command those greater than myself, but today I can barely feed myself." Napoleon was obsessed with reading. He had more than 200 books in his room. His favorite book, Plutarch's Lives of the Noble Greeks and Romans, a work that shaped his view of leadership. When the French Revolution began, Napoleon was only 20 years old. The rapidly growing chaos of events was an opportunity for anyone who wanted to rise. His success in the siege of Toulon brought his name to Paris. He became a general at the age of 24, an incredible achievement for that time, but no one knows. This rise was not only due to his military genius, but also to his political intelligence. He could flawlessly analyze who was a friend and who was an enemy. In 1798, the Egyptian campaign was more than a military victory. It demonstrated Napoleon's power of propaganda. He brought scientists with him returning from Egypt, instead of a defeated army. He came back to Europe with the image of a leader who had discovered the secrets of the East. His greatest discovery was the Rosetta Stone. Thanks to this, hieroglyphs were deciphered and world history was changed. A lesser-known fact is, in Egypt, Napoleon tried to build relations with the local population by saying, "I am not fighting against Muslims." He minted coins in his own name and even attempted to have his name mentioned in Friday sermons. When Napoleon returned to Paris in 1799, France was in a ruined state. The government was chaos, and the people were weary. Napoleon carried out the coup without delay, and the fate of Europe changed that day. Then in 1804, he declared himself emperor. He did not wait for the priest to place the crown on his head. He placed the crown on his own head. This is one of the most symbolic moments in history. Napoleon conducted a months-long propaganda campaign before the coronation. 60% of the people supported him, an astonishingly high rate. Napoleon's war strategies are still taught in military schools today. His greatest strength was speed. He used the army like a great arrow: strike fast, break, and change direction. His greatest victory, Austerlitz, the Battle of the Three Emperors. Not just tactics. He was a master of psychology as well. Before the battle, he told his soldiers, "Do not fight for me, not for the empire. Fight for your own pride." Napoleon's map memory was extraordinary. He could draw maps from memory. He would speak with his soldiers one by one. That's why they called him the Little Corporal. Napoleon's emotional world was the complete opposite of his military genius. Fragile, passionate, and often uncontrollable. The letters he wrote to Josephine are among the most emotional texts in history he had written. Every minute away from you feels like eternity. But Josephine could not have children. With great sorrow, Napoleon divorced her. This was one of the deepest fractures in his life. He said, "I conquered the world, but I could not conquer my heart." Napoleon's Russian campaign is a lesson no leader in history will ever forget. Napoleon entered Moscow with 600,000 soldiers, but returned with fewer than 100,000. This was not only a military disaster for France, it was a psychological collapse. Then the defeat at Leipzig shook Napoleon deeply. He was now exhausted, and as if these defeats were not enough, in 1814 he was exiled to the island of Elba. Even in exile, he built roads, a school, and drafted a constitution. He was a man who simply did not know how to stop. Napoleon stayed on the island of Elba for about 10 months. He was sent into exile on May 4th, 1814, and escaped from the island on February 26th, 1815. During the roughly 10 months he spent on Elba, Napoleon did not remain idle. He built roads, ports, and a school, reorganized agriculture, and drafted a small constitution. The people liked him, but the political developments in Europe troubled him. As dissatisfaction with the Bourbon government in France grew, his belief that France would call him back strengthened. In February 1815, he found his opportunity. British supervision had weakened, and the idea that, if only Napoleon returned, order would be restored, was spreading among the people in the army in France one night. Napoleon secretly made preparations, gathered his loyal men, and departed Elba on a small ship named Inconstant. The escape took place almost silently. He encountered neither conflict nor any serious obstacle. He reached the French coast on March 1st, 1815, and the people welcomed him with great enthusiasm. Soon the armies joined him, and the triumphal march to Paris began. This return marked a new period in history known as the 100 Days. Napoleon lived as a captive on St. Helena for 6 years. But even during those years, he rewrote history. His memoirs deeply influenced world leaders. The Napoleonic codes, which today form the foundation of legal systems, the political structure of modern Europe, the education system, the concept of national identity, all of them carry traces of his era, love him or hate him. Napoleon is one of the architects of the modern world. Napoleon Bonaparte. Was he a hero, a tyrant, or a colossal leader whose achievements were as great as his mistakes, far ahead of his time? Whatever the answer, one truth does not change. He is one of the few people who single-handedly changed the course of history. This is not the story of Napoleon. It is the story of ambition that shaped the world.